On paper, the Audi RS7 should easily walk away with the victory from the BMW M3 Touring. It has 100 more horsepower, more torque, and a bigger number spec sheet. But we wouldn't be making this video if it was that easy, would we? The BMW brings a lighter, sharper wagon formula. The Audi brings brute force, grand tourer muscle. And the real question is simple. Does that 100 horsepower matter when the car hit the road? Okay, so let's start with what we will be covering in this video. We are going to look at the design and interior of both the cars, how they perform on the road and against each other in a drag race, how they are priced, and then put everything head to head before giving it a final verdict. Now, the reason we are comparing these two specifically is interesting because these are not natural rivals on paper. The BMW M3 Touring starts at around $116,000 while the Audi RS7 sits at around $133,000. That is an $18,000 gap. But the reason this comparison exists is because both cars are trying to solve the exact same problem, giving you a vehicle that is fast enough to humiliate dedicated sports car while still being practical enough to live with every single day. That overlap in purpose is what puts them in the same conversation, and that is exactly what we are going to explore throughout this video. On the outside, the M3 Touring and the RS7 Sportsback take completely different approaches. The M3 Touring has an enlarged kidney grille dominating the front with sculpted air intakes on either side channeling airflow to the engine. It sits on a 19-inch M dual-spoke bicolor wheels with blue M Sport brake calipers visible behind them, arrow-shaped LED headlights, and a rear spoiler. The RS7 Sportback goes in a completely different direction. The front has a chiseled gloss black single-frame grille, a pronounced chin spoiler, and a bold aluminum matte air intakes, flared wheel arches, and integrated oval exhaust outlets at the rear. It sits on a standard 21-inch RS wheel with optional 22-inch upgrades and has a retractable rear spoiler that sits flush with the bodywork until it deploys automatically at speed. At the back, a full-weight rear light bar creates a distinctive look at night that the M3 Touring does not have. The M3 Touring's roofline is a traditional estate, flat, practical, and tall. The RS7's roofline slopes down towards the rear in a coupe-like shape, which looks great but trades off rear headroom as a result. Inside, the M3 Touring's cabin is built around the driver. You get a 14.9-inch infotainment system paired with a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, merino leather, M Sport seats with multi-way electric adjustable and memory function, heating in the front, carbon fiber trim, and red interior highlights including the M buttons on the steering wheel and the start button on the center console. The RS7's cabin is wider and more premium. It has RS Sport seats in Velcona leather with honeycomb stitching and RS embossing, a flat-bottom heated steering wheel with large aluminum shift pedals, a 10.1-inch upper touchscreen above an 8.6-inch lower touchscreen, dedicated entirely to climate, a 12.3-inch virtual cockpit plus instrument cluster, a 16-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, 4-zone climate control, a panoramic roof, and wireless charging all standard. The M3 Touring feels sports-focused and tight. The RS7 feels like a premium lounge that also happens to go very fast. Now let's get into the main reason why we made this video. The M3 Touring runs BMW's S58, a 3-liter twin-turbocharged inline 6-cylinder engine. It uses a closed-deck block with forged lightweight crankshaft that allows the engine to rev freely all the way up to 7,200 RPM. It produces 510 horsepower and 650 Nm of torque sent to all four wheels through an 8-speed automatic gearbox in a car that weighs 1,865 kilograms. It does 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.6 seconds and has an electronically limited top speed of 155 miles per hour, raised to 174 miles per hour with optional M drives package. The suspension is adaptive M setup, retuned specifically for the touring body with 19-inch wheels at the front and 20-inch wheels at the rear. The drivetrain also has a rear-wheel drive only mode where the front axle is completely disconnected. The RS7 runs Audi's 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8. The two turbos sit inside the V of the cylinder banks rather than outside next to the crankshaft, giving shorter gas flow paths and faster throttle response. It produces 620 horsepower with 850 Nm of torque delivered in a flat constant band from 2050 RPM all the way to 4500 RPM. It also runs a 48-volt mild hybrid system that assists under acceleration and recovers energy under braking. It does 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds and has a maximum top speed of 190 miles per hour. It comes with RS-tuned adaptive air suspension as standard and a sports rear differential that actively distributes torque between the rear wheels. It weighs 2065 kilograms. Put them side by side, the RS7 has 110 more horsepower and 200 more Newton meters, but its torque band starts at 2050 rpm versus the M3 Touring's 2750 rpm, meaning Audi pulls a hard 750 rpm earlier in every gear. That weight difference of 200 kg is what stops the power gap from producing a much bigger performance gap. From a standing start, the RS7 wins the quarter mile with best of 11.3 seconds to the M3 Touring's 11.5 seconds, just 0.2 of a second apart. From a rolling start, however, the M3 Touring is completely obliterated, with the RS7's earlier torque delivery and extra power taking over completely at speed, which does answer the question. Does the 100 more horsepower matter? Yes, it absolutely does. The Touring may boast about it being only 0.2 seconds slower from a standing start, but apart from that, there is nothing the M3 can come close to. The M3 Touring starts at 91,865 pounds, roughly $116,000 at current exchange rate, and it is very easy to push that beyond six figures once you start adding options. The big ticket items include carbon ceramic brakes at around $10,700, the M Drivers package at around $2,750, which raises the top speed from 155 miles per hour to 175 miles per hour, and the M carbon bucket seats at around $5,700. A well-optioned M3 Touring can realistically land around $130,000 to $140,000 all in. Both cars come around in a single configuration with no trim levels. You build the price up through options. However, it is worth noting that the M3 Touring is not sold in the United States. BMW has confirmed it will not be coming to the North American market, so American buyers would need to look at importing it privately if they want one. The RS7 starts at $133,995 and similarly climbs with options. The sports exhaust, 22-inch wheels, carbon ceramic brakes, and the top speed package are the main additions. The standard 155 miles per hour limiter can be raised to 174 and then 190 miles per hour, each at additional cost. A loaded RS7 can push north of $160,000, so at base price the gap between them is around $18,000, but options similarly, they meet very close to the same number. The meaningful question is what that base price gap buys you, and the answer is 110 more horsepower, a V8, and a bigger, more premium car. Starting with performance, the RS7 wins the drag race, wins the rolling race, and has a higher top speed. On pure straight line speed, it is the faster car, but the M3 Touring gets a 62 miles per hour in 3.6 seconds against the RS7's 3.3 seconds, a gap of just 0.3 seconds. Despite having 110 less horsepower, 200 less Newton meters of torque, and costing significantly less. On design, they go in completely different directions. The M3 Touring is an estate that looks aggressive, the RS7 is a fastback that looks like a statement. Neither is wrong, but they attract very different buyers. On interior, the RS7 is more premium and comfortable place to sit in for everyone in the car. The M3 Touring is more driver-focused. On practicality, the M3 Touring wins here. It is a family-friendly wagon with oodles of space and practicality in a smaller, easier-to-park body. The RS7 has slightly larger boot at 535 liters versus 500 liters, but its size makes it harder to daily drive it. On price, the M3 Touring starts at around $116,000, while the RS7 starts at $133,000. Options close the gap, but the M3 Touring is the better value proposition on paper. The one area where the RS7 is completely unchallenged is the V8 engine. That soundtrack, that torque, delivery from 2050 rpm, and the top speed of 190 miles per hour are things the M3 Touring simply cannot match. The RS7 wins this by a long shot. Better premium interior, way better specs, and with the upgrade options, both cars come close to the same value. That said, the M3 is not a bad car. It is actually an exceptional one. It is sharper to drive, lighter, more engaging, has a rear-wheel drive mode the RS7 cannot match, and costs 18,000 less. It is also one of the last petrol-powered performance wagon BMW will ever build before electrification takes over, which gives it a significance beyond just the spec sheet. But if you want more complete, more effortless, and more premium car who will sound absolutely magnificent doing it and makes everyone in the car feel like they are in something special, the RS7 is the answer. 100 more horsepower is not just a number, it makes a huge difference. One BMW cannot surpass, at least for now. Both do serve different purposes, but the RS7 does it looking, feeling, and sounding much better than the BMW. And that is the 2026 BMW M3 Touring versus the 2026 Audi RS7. The RS7 takes the win, but the M3 Touring is far from embarrassed. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments which one would you pick and why. YouTube thinks you might like this video popping up on your screen right now. I'm sure you will like it as well. See you in the next one.